Hey, welcome back guys. I know it's been a long time since I've made an actual One Piece YouTube video, but there has been a lot of things going on in my life in the last month and a half, and I just want to let you know I'm back and I'm better than ever, and I'm going to start making more consistent One Piece videos. And especially after the last 5 chapters that I've actually read in a straight line, there is a lot of information that I will be talking about in all the next videos after this video. So, let's talk about it. Now, what is the objective of this video? This video is going to be mostly about the pacing of One Piece and how it seems like it's sort of changed within the last 5 chapters, especially me reading all 5 of them at once, so I can sort of get a basis and a grip of what's been happening, since I haven't been really been able to have the chance to read it consistently. Now, before we go on with the video, I just want to let you guys know, like I said before, I will be making more YouTube videos, so please like and subscribe, because just like the pacing of this One Piece, I'm going to actually let you just pace yourself and take your time to subscribe, you know? 5, 3, 1. There you go. Let you have time. Now hit that subscribe button, and let's get on with the video. Let's talk about the more important things that I've actually realized within the last 5 chapters. And that is the commanders. Now, we're going to start off with how I viewed the fights between the Straw Hats and the commanders. Within the fights that we have actually seen between Jinbei, Who's Who, Frankie and Sasaki, Robin, Black Maria, and now Sanji and Zoro versus Queen and King, there is sort of a fast pace that I actually see Oda going through. Usually, throughout all the fights within One Piece, it's usually more paced out, where we will have a fight and then pan out to Luffy, and then have a fight and then pan out to Luffy, but it would never actually finish, or Oda would not actually finish his fights within one chapter. But within these 5 chapters, I've actually see that Oda is finishing them quite fast. Now, what does that have to do with the pacing? Well, just like I explained before, it seems like Oda has sort of sped through the fights and made it seem like the fights between the Straw Hats and Kaido's commanders are less of a fight and more of a beatdown by the Straw Hats. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, for example, the fight between Jinbei and Who's Who. That fight scene, or at least that chapter, was amazing. I fell in love with it. I really, really enjoyed it, especially because my boy Jinbei is showing out. He's also the first person throughout the whole entire story to actually go full body armament hockey and beat the person that he was fighting against. But it seemed like it was fast. Jinbei was extremely, or I would say far stronger than Who's Who. And I could only assume that Who's Who is the only person or the only fighter throughout the Toby Roppo that can actually compete with the 3 All-Stars, due to his fighting ability, his mental prowess, as well as his devil fruit. He actually seems like he could possibly be stronger than Jack and Queen. Now, before I go on to that topic, because I'm going to leave that for another video, like I said before, Jinbei finished Who's Who pretty fast. The same thing goes with Frankie and Sasaki, and Frankie really getting a beating, but it seemed like his fight with Senor Pink was way more in-depth, serious, and tougher than it was when he was fighting against Sasaki. Now, let's move on to Robin. We've been waiting for a fight for Robin for a very long time. I think the last fight that Robin actually had on her own was about 10 or 15 years ago, or even more than that. Now, what does that say for our whole entire fight within the fight between Black Maria and Robin? Well, I would say that normally, this was probably why Oda didn't really want to have Robin fight with anybody, because she would easily overpower them due to her paramecia devil fruit. It could be possibly one of the most overwhelming fruits for a combatant. But it felt sort of short-lived. It was sort of lackluster because I was hoping for more. I wanted more. But I understand that Oda could do only a certain amount that he could do because of Robin's Devil Fruit ability and the possibility that Robin is way stronger than Black Maria. Let's move on with Sanji and Zoro, or Zoro and Sanji. Their fight has just begun, and it seems like if Oda keeps pacing or doing the same pacing that he is doing right now, it seems like they could probably actually beat Queen and King within 2 chapters, within 3 chapters probably. Which leads me to say that what if the power scaling between the Straw Hats and the Beast Pirates were the same as CP9 and the Straw Hats? Where when the Straw Hats actually fought CP9, CP9 was led to believe to be way stronger than the Straw Hats. And within that arc, within Enies Lobby arc, it actually seemed like they were way stronger, way more skilled, and a better combatant or fighters than the actual Straw Hats. But in this case, it seems like the Straw Hats are actually leagues above the actual Beast Pirates. Where the Big Mom Pirates, in comparison, seems like they could put the Straw Hats, or give the Straw Hats, a way better fight than the actual Beast Pirates. So the power scaling seems to be sort of off, and the pacing of the fights seems to be sort of understandable if you want to think that the Straw Hats are stronger than the actual Beast Pirates. But at the same time, you're wondering if Oda is leading to something. That if something that was mentioned a long time ago is actually true. And like I said, I will end up sort of talking about that something towards the ending of the video. Let's talk about the amount of lore that Oda has actually provided us within these last 5 chapters. And like I said, I'm basing this whole entire video on the last 5 chapters because the fact that I haven't read them week by week, and I read them all together. So this could be taken with a grain of salt, but like I said, this is something that I really want to talk about because I feel like the pacing of everything is sort of interesting. So my proposition on the pacing with the Commanders versus the Straw Hats is me pretty much saying that it's going a little bit too fast. Like, I wanted Oda to sort of pace out the fights between them, and I don't think Oda is going to, because the fight between the 2 Yonko seems to be way more important than the fight between the Commanders. But the amount of lore that has been happening within the last 5 chapters is astounding. It's mind-boggling, because not only did we get information about certain things that we've been worrying about, or certain things that we've been interested about, like Zoro's eye, or what people see in Luffy, or even about Momo and his devil fruit and what that could possibly lead to. It also shows us what information that Oda has for us in general. And that information that Oda has for us is that there's a lot more information that we need, that we want, and that Oda is yet not yet telling us. And let me elaborate on that. So, for example, the information that we got on the Sun God and how that could possibly lead to what happened in Skypiea. There's so many videos about it, and I might actually end up doing a video about it. But how the Sun God is sort of pictured is similar to how Luffy looked in part of Jaya, or the part of the Skypiea arc, where it was his silhouette sort of matching the same thing. So it seems like Oda is giving us answers, but giving us like 100 more questions. Just like Zoro's information, and the fact that we all thought that it probably was something more special, that Zoro has his one eye. But the fact that Oda is telling us, like, no, this is a lot more important, a lot more interesting. The fact that Zoro has a bigger connection to Ryoma than we actually thought, not possibly being his descendant, as well as being the current sword god or the next sword god, but being similar to somebody else. That his fighting style is similar to a person that actually is also related to Ryuma. And that's a video for another day that I really want to elaborate about, because I'm very interested about this topic. But the fact that all these lores and all these information that we had in the past is now coming up to the present, and now we have a lot more questions because it's leading to a lot more different possibilities. And now that we have information, or possible information, about King's sort of race, the Lunarians, things are going to get wild. Another thing that I really want to talk about is Luffy and Momo. I made a video a long time ago that Luffy and Momo are going to end up having a bigger connection with each other. That their connection resides in the voice of all things. But I feel like it's going to go deeper than that. Like I said in another video, I feel like Goldie Roger and Odin were very similar to each other. And Luffy and Momo are very similar to each other. This is another lore that I'm very interested in, because I feel like Oda is leading to something. That he is going to tell us or show us that there's something more that meets the eye between these two. That they were sort of spiritually linked in some form or fashion, and that would probably end up leading to something more important, not only within the fight on Wano, or the fight in Wano with Kaido, but something later on towards the end of One Piece, throughout the war, or even the fight between Blackbeard. Something between these two is extremely important. So Momo is now, or he was a dragon, but now he's a full-grown dragon, a copy of Kaido, which is actually astounding, because Momo has now become the next Kaido, but a better version. And I wonder how that's going to end up leading towards the ending of Wano. And Luffy, sort of not controlling Momo, but befriending Momo, and actually being probably the one that will have the final hits on Kaido. It's sort of interesting on how this will all go. Because one of the chapters, I believe it's chapter 1021 or 1022, towards the end, that Zoro and Sanji say that they can actually see themselves, or Luffy being the king of the pirates after this, or their dream is closer, that the two wings of Luffy have acknowledged that this is the fight that they can't lose. Now, what does this say about Luffy and the pacing that Oda now has? Well, I can say that it's there. The pacing is perfect, because this is the fight that we've all been waiting for. The fight that Luffy will end up having with a Yonko. And this fight makes a lot of sense. That in one of my previous videos, I said after this, once Luffy beats Kaido and finishes this war against the Beast Pirates, that he should be considered the strongest pirate, or one of the strongest pirates in the verse. And this all makes sense. Like, what's leading towards it all makes sense, and it's perfect pacing. And now, like, let me talk about the conclusion of this video. The pacing in the last 5 chapters have been ridiculous, have been extremely crazy. To the commanders, where I felt like it was going too fast, towards the lore, how it's understandable and it's slow, because I feel like Oda needs to give us as much information and answer all of our questions within the next few arcs. But in all honesty, sorry. But in all honesty, if Oda keeps on going down the same path and throughout the same pacing, where on the fights and certain things are fast, but certain things are well spread out, I can honestly see this story ending. And when I say story, I mean the whole One Piece story ending within the next 5 years. Because if we remember, the editor came out and said about a few months ago that the story will actually end within the next 5 years. All know that that's been said multiple times, that Oda is going to end up finishing the story within 5 years. But this time around, I feel like it's coming to pass where the story may actually end up finishing within the next 5 years. But the perfect pacing with Luffy's power and the Straw Hats' power and how they're actually there. They're a Yonko crew. It's official. And it's just crazy. It's extremely crazy how much this show has grown and how much the last 5 chapters have made an impact on the One Piece community. And it's very exciting. This is prime One Piece. This is perfect One Piece. And this is why I love talking about and reading One Piece. Well, guys, that is it for today. Like I said, I will be making more consistent videos now that I have a more perfect setup and a lot more time. And honestly, a lot of better situations have been happening for me. So I really appreciate you guys. If this is your first time and you made it this far, please like and subscribe to the channel. It will really help me out. Go ahead and hit the notification bell if you want to see more of my videos and if you want One Piece content to go straight to your YouTube feed. I really appreciate all the subscribers that actually subscribe while I was gone and all the subscribers that are going to actually watch this. I do it for you guys and I'll be back for you guys. Like I said, I appreciate you guys and I'll see you guys in the next One Piece video.